Well, the Augusta Barn Theater season opening, and with a couple of stars, and we have them in the studio right now. First of all, nice to see Robert Newman again. Robert, morning to you.
Good morning. I'm waking up. I'm getting there.
Robert, of course, the star of the Guiding Light for many, many years. How many?
28 years.
28 years, yeah. And no stranger to Barn fans as well, and doing a lot of fun things now that he's not doing Guiding Light and has the time. Also, Fee Waybill is with us from the Tubes, and no stranger to Barn fans as well. Fee, nice to see you this morning.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
You've, of course, done the big Rocky Horror Picture Show out at the Barn, so Barn fans have seen you a few times doing that.
Yeah, I've done it more than 100 times. And I did Spam-A-Lot. The last time I was here, it was Spam-A-Lot. I was King Arthur in Spam-A-Lot.
I bet that was a lot of fun.
It's the greatest play of all time. I loved it. I really loved it.
And I grew up with that Monty Python stuff and can quote long periods.
Eric Idle is a genius.
Yeah.
In fact, I met him right after I did it. Right after I did the show, I was at a party. Drew Carey is a friend of mine, and he was doing an annual rap party at his house up on Mulholland Drive, and his next door neighbor is Eric Idle. And Eric came over to the party, and I was like a little kid. I never had met him, and I was just gushing, "Oh, Eric, I just did your play. I just did King Arthur and Spam-A-Lot." On and on. And he was going, yeah, okay, thanks a lot.
I think probably, obviously British music of the 60s had a huge influence on American music.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I think probably British comedy did too, because of that one show, Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Yeah. Benny Hill, that was another big English show. And then they went on to do Fawlty Towers, and Michael Palin went on to do a show, and then did that travel log show for a long time. And yeah, John Cleese, he was amazing. He did a lot of work, and same with Eric.
Of course, you were the front man for the Tubes now for, I don't know how many years.
We just celebrated 40 years.
40
Our
years.
first album was 1975. So now we're up to 43 years.
And growing up, I never thought of the Tubes as a run-of-the-mill rock band. There was always a lot more there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I hope you're not offended by this, but I just always thought of you kind of in the Frank Zappa, Captain Beefheart genre a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Those were our heroes. I loved Captain Beefheart.
Yeah.
I saw him quite a few times, and same thing with Zappa. Many times we were huge fans, and you're right, that was a major influence on us, and we wanted to be as weird as they were.
Has it also kind of influenced your career? Because you haven't just been a rock band guy. You've been, your shows, your band has been all about entertainment and more than just the music. Certainly about the music, but more than just the music. And has that enabled you to go on and do more things, TV and
theater? Yeah, it was always a big theater deal with us. It was always, me doing characters and costumes and dancers and props and 40 people on the road, and that's why when Brendan over at the Barn Theater got a hold of me in, I think it was 98, the first year, or 99, he said, "I want you to come out and do Rocky Horror." I said, "Okay, I'm there." And he said, "Do you think you can wear high heel shoes?" And I said, "Have you ever seen the Tubes? Have you ever seen Quaalude? Yeah. Quaalude's got 18-inch high platforms on, and little 6-inch pumps are going to be no problem for me." Oh, and I was right into it, and I love the theater. It's I want to keep on doing it. I love it. I'm going to come back. I know Robert's doing Noises Off, and then Hairspray, 3 in a row here at the Barn. And then I'm hoping to come back for the final play of the year called Disaster, which is like a spoof on 70s disaster movies.
Oh, like Airport and all those.
Kind of like that. And it's really funny, and a lot of 70s rock and roll songs comprise the music. So I'm looking forward to that, too.
I was telling Fee that I was born and raised in Southern California in the San Fernando Valley, and then graduated from high school in 1976. And I said, I saw you guys at the Roxy on Sunset Boulevard, I think.
Right, on Roxy.
I think probably around 76, 77, something like that.
76. That was our first big LA show. We did a week at the Roxy.
I just remember, and I was there, and I remember, and even then I thought about, and I had not started acting then. I didn't start acting until I was midway through college, but I remember thinking how incredibly theatrical and wonderful it was. And you played that character, Quaalude.
Quaalude.
It was just, it's really a trip to be sitting next to him right now and being like, oh yeah, this is the guy. From the Tubes.
I'm just thinking of that Zappa album, Roxy and Elsewhere, too, the double album where they put, I think it was a lot of studio stuff, but a lot of Roxy in there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Zappa was at one, I can't remember which album it was, but we were in L.A., and he was in a different studio at Sunset Sound and recording at the same time as we were. And I remember we would do our takes, and then we go back and sit in the back of Frank's studio, and he had like a coffee urn that held about 5 gallons of coffee, and he would just work all night long. And we'd sit there in the back of the room just watching, and then we got the chance in '79, we got the chance to play with him. We were doing a festival in England called the Nebworth Festival, and Zappa was the headliner, and the Tubes were a second bill. There was about 10 bands. It was an all-day-long thing. And Frank came up to me before the show, early in the day, before we had gone on, and he said, "Look, I've seen you guys. I don't want to follow you." I said, "We're just going to stand there and play." He said, "Is it okay if we go on before you and you guys close the show? Because we had a massive production planned with Kenny Ortega, our choreographer. Kenny Ortega started with us, who's gone on to become really famous." And I said, "Yeah, sure, we'll headline, no problem."
Great story.
I have this issue in Civil War right now because in Act 1, Fee does this great, kick-ass song called Old Great Coat. And just about right after that, I come out and sing this like really sad, soft ballad. And I'm like, really? He does that, and I'm coming out, and I'm,
Well, can we just switch those around?
No, I don't think I could do it the way he does it. It's pretty great.
I hear that there's some pretty talented
my
musicians
gosh.
and singers in this cast.
These guys, we did a sing-through. You weren't there, I don't think, for the sing-through yet. We did that on Tuesday, I think, or something like that. And the voices, in particular, and I'm going to be careful about this because Civil War is a very male-driven piece. So I heard mostly the male voices, of course, in that sing-through of the Civil War, and I just blew my socks off. Just not only the solo singers, but but as an ensemble, they're blowing the roof off on this thing. It's really, really exciting. And I knew nothing about Civil War. The musical coming into it, it's written by Frank Wildhorn, and it ran for a bit on Broadway, but I really didn't know anything about it. But I found myself getting really emotional and tearing up a little bit during pieces of it, and then laughing through other pieces of it. And
most of us have seen Ken Burns' Civil War, and the thing that always stuck with me on that, of course, the emotion, but the fact, the way that these soldiers wrote and communicated, it kind of puts us to shame these days. It's like, the 1860s, and these guys wrote like Shakespeare. And you guys have to recite that.
I have a quick piece where I say, I saw the body of a man killed the previous day this morning, and what a humble sight it was. Such sights do not affect me in the way they once did. My darling, he's writing to his wife, I cannot describe the change. I don't know when it took place. But I know that here there must be a change, for now I look upon the carcass of a man in much the same way I would a horse or a hog.
Wow. Yeah, there's
just a little snippet of the
there's some seriously heavy parts in there. It's a tearjerker.
And it's real stuff. It's not stuff.
Oh, it's real. No,
wrote.
It's real.
Somebody wrote.
Well, there's lyrics and there's music, but
right,
But Yeah, and it's a huge undertaking, I think, Frank Wilder. Even titling it the Civil War, that's a pretty massive,
It's going to be
body
weird
of work,
for you
so
to
that's
then
great.
jump into Noises Off, which is kind of a funny farce.
Which I already have. We did a read-through of that last night. So
What part
I'm
are
doing
you playing?
double. I'm playing the part of the director, so
Okay.
it's a very, very funny piece, and that runs for 1 week, and then I'll be jumping directly into rehearsals for Hairspray, playing the mom, playing Edna in Hairspray. So I'll be wearing my 2-inch pumps. I have them at the barn now, size 13 wide.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, now these first two shows, too, the Civil War and Noises Off, are 1 week only.
Yes,
So
that's
you
right.
definitely need to get your
So
tickets.
get out and see it quick. Yeah.
In fact,
Right.
you can get a deal on our website. We've got a deal up there, I think $60, like half-price tickets. You can get a pair of tickets at our Seize the Deal site at 95.3 WBCK.com or call the Barn box office. But get those tickets because it's this week for the Civil War and then next week for Noises Off, and then Hairspray will be here before you know it.
Yep.
That's probably 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to do that one for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. Great
fun
start
show.
to the season. And now, are you guys on stage at all at the same time? And
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are. There was a couple of numbers. Actually, we're
Rivals.
rivals. He's the Confederate. I mean, I'm the Confederate captain. He's the Union captain, and we bear swords
No.
during the action, and I lose. but yeah, it's Robert is such a I've never really worked with such a consummate actor, a guy who's done it his whole life. I mean, I always wanted to be an actor and did the tubes, and that was my little piece of trying to be an actor, and so it's great. It's great to be on stage with the real thing. It really is.
Is it cool for you guys who, basically have had your nose to the grindstone, kind of doing one main thing for a long time, to be able now at this stage of your careers to do some different stuff? And like Lion and Winter, that was incredible.
No, thank
it
you.
was so
Yeah,
great.
that
And
was a
comedies
joy.
and dramas. And are you having a good time, you guys?
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, yes.
This is great. It's really great. In fact, I told the agent earlier in the year, I said, look, I'm booked. Okay, I'm doing theater. I'm doing 2 shows this year in June and August into Labor Day, and don't book gigs because I'm booked. And he's going, what are you talking about? Booked doing what? I said, I'm an actor, man. I'm doing theater, and I love the theater. It's just, I feel so at home, and I just love the live stage. It's the best for me.
Well, and that's part of something you've done for a long time.
Right,
Yeah,
for my
you've
whole
been
life.
in front of people live doing
Yeah.
entertainment for a
And
long
for me,
time.
it's a little bit of the opposite, where I had spent so much of my life in front of a camera, but I still feel more at home and at peace on stage in front of an audience with great actors doing great material. I feel absolutely in where I'm designed to be when I'm on stage, much more so than on camera. I just shot 2 episodes of House of Cards.
Oh.
And, that's great. I love the work, but there's just something different about being in a live thing.
Actors Robert Newman and Fee Waybill, thank you very much for joining us. Civil War starts tomorrow night at 8 o'clock at the Augusta Barn Theater.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.